So on submit, on reset are the events which are used for submit and reset. And on submit, on reset will work on submit and reset click. On submit and reset click. That means submit and reset click is nothing but generally we need a button. If button type is button, then it cannot submit. It will not submit. This is ordinary button. If button type is submit, then it is submit button. If button type is reset, then it is a reset button. So for example, suppose we are having a simple text box. So name text box, input type is equal to text, and the name is txt name. Now you can observe here we have three buttons: the ordinary button, the submit button, and reset button. This on submit is written for form. On submit, on reset. That means actually these are the events defined for form. These are the events defined for form. Technically, these are the events defined for form. And important is these events are defined for form and bound to submit and reset buttons. They will work with submit reset buttons. So let's observe that on submit we will write a function submit click. On reset click. These are our own names, and in the head section we are defining function submit click. And submit click, I want to just display some alert form submitted. Later in your server side technologies and other technologies, you use this very much for submitting the form data. That we cannot see that now because that is done with integration of server side technologies. Initially, we are understanding how we can submit the form data. And function and reset click. On reset click, alert we are defining like form will reset. So here when we run this, submit and reset are the events designed for form and they will work for that event. So these need to be kept in script. Okay. Now when I run this, you can see we have three buttons. I entered some name and I click on ordinary button. It is not submitting. It is not doing anything. Because ordinary buttons cannot submit the form because its type is button. Only submit button can submit the form. So when I click submit button, then it will fire up form submitted. And okay, the form data is submitted. You can see the form data is submitted in the URL. Form data is submitted in the URL. Right. So you have reset button. I click on reset button. When I click on reset button, form will reset. Okay. It will reset the form. That means it will clean up and keep the default values. So submit and reset these two buttons will work for these two events, submit event, reset event. You can submit the form and its data by using these events. You can configure by using these events. Now, you cannot perform this submit and reset with other controls. But generally, this is example. In interviews, one question is asked: how to submit a form? How to submit a form with any another element in HTML? How to submit a form with any another element in HTML? That means, for example, I want this submit to happen for ordinary button also. But ordinary button don't have that. I want submit to happen on drop down selection. But they cannot do by default. By default, you saw that ordinary button is unable to submit. We can make this to submit. Generally, how we can do that is, form will have a name, form name as FRM some home. Now, on ordinary button click, on click, we will write here submit form function, and we will write the function here, function as a submit form. Submit form function is defined here. Now it should able to submit the form. Then simply you can access the form name. Form name is FRM home form name dot. So you don't have that. Then if you don't have that, then even you entered the name, submit is not working. So you make sure that you are calling the submit function here, then it will submit that particular form, right? That means FRM home, and it will submit. Form submit function is called, then you can submit. So that means how you can submit a form? By calling the form submit method. By calling the form submit method, you can manage that. You can handle that. Right? That is what actually the submit option is. Technically, by using form submit, you can manage this functionality. So this is regularly asked in interviews, not only for ordinary button click, drop down selection change, or any another event. You can call this, then automatically it will submit the form. That is the basic event how to manage form submit, right? So there is another technique. Another technique is, instead of calling form submit, this is the right way. Another technique is, You can